So I'm Rose Schofield, Programme Leader for UK-based Leadership Coaching Programme.
Hello, I'm Sue Bowen, a Senior Lecturer at a UK university.
Sue and I would like to share some research findings from a case study which may indicate changing the management mindset to manage momentum in higher education. To understand more about this, a manager as coach programme within a university was evaluated.
To help take a bird's eye view and draw conclusions, we took various possibilities into consideration. Each of these factors we pay attention to in some depth in our supporting paper and offer some insight into these in this session. The research findings revealed that all was not entirely well with how the programme had been rolled out, and that elements relating to strategic thinking, operational planning, and whether the manager as coach programme should be accredited or not had been overlooked at planning stage. Of note here are the findings in this case study are similar to those found in national research conducted by the UK Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development in 2010. For the purpose of our presentation and paper, we will be focusing on the issue of leadership framework. So what did we find? These are typical comments. Coaching helped me to move in a more supportive way, being self-aware of impact on other persons and being enabling of them. Tools in a box, real tools, techniques to be less confrontational with people, techniques extremely helpful. It has made me think a lot more before I speak. Learning is more reflective. Lack of buy-in needs to be led from the top. Needs a clear message through the university so they all know and understand. Should come from executive and organisation and people development department. Pockets of coaching, some senior management are more understanding, but it doesn't happen in reality.
Taking a complementary view of this model sends out the message of the importance of ensuring that coaching is integrated into an organisation's strategy with a linkage to high performance and a way of doing business. It suggests also that for a coaching culture to be created by senior levels of leadership, it will ensure that integration of coaching and cultural change will involve empowerment for staff and support for delegation. In addition to this, these leaders will be offering themselves as role models of managing in a coaching way through demonstrating leadership and positive influence that is cascaded throughout the organisation. Megginson and Clutterbuck are of the opinion that such strategy must be integrated and embedded within any strategic development initiative which is intended to improve performance through coaching, learning and management and leadership development.
The idea of line managers managing in a coaching way is not new, and yet it appears the amount of literature emerging that highlights issues relating to management style, the need for more effective working relationships and people-centred organisational cultures is growing. We believe this justifies the call for a change in management mindset in organisations such as universities, if it is the intention to manage momentum and lead through change. Does this also reveal a question about how to shape the future agenda? To help find a place to start understanding what was taking place, we looked at leading through change. The cultural web is a simple and useful means of mapping information to paint a verbal picture of the organisation and link to strategy. Undertaking a full diagnosis using the cultural web was not part of the research. However, we do recommend it can be a useful tool to help with diagnosis.
It is our view that it is a good way for an organisation such as a university to see where they are now and then redoing for where they want to be and to determine strategy for how they are going to get there. There are practical challenges that managers and leaders in universities face, particularly at this time in higher education where organisational and individual change is now a priority. We believe the way forward strategically is to make a significant difference through implementation of a more directed senior leadership approach that offers opportunities for coaching and support and development in the workplace. In our view, developing managers as coaches can help them become more supportive of their teams and more focused on how those working for them, with them, and their teams are developed. For example, coaching as a way of practice can bring more focus by helping individuals work towards one aim. How? The process of coaching can help clarify and align individual goals with desired organisational direction, having also helped identify, implement and action the most effective structures to ensure business and individual needs are met or exceeded.
A good balance of these central factors is likely to bring positive impact and influence on a much wider scale and help individuals lead themselves and their teams through transition and towards change. Such optimal leadership is also likely to help achieve desired results, as the outcome will contribute to steering in the desired direction, whilst in the process continually develop individuals, teams and the organisation as a whole. This, we believe, is part of the key as a strategy to help manage momentum in higher education.
It probably means that organisations have to dig deep, asking many more questions. Implementing coaching as a strategy can be a way of doing this. Looking at Argyris' theory of single loop and double loop learning, he highlights that in single loop learning there are actions, consequences, and either a match or mismatch, whereas with double loop learning there are additional factors of governing variables. Double loop learning sets out to consider what single loop learning may offer in terms of goals, techniques for change and organisational values to get results. However, it also challenges the status quo and encourages asking more questions. Argyris believes that for double loop changes to occur, there needs to be an unfreezing of organisation processes and structures to influence learning. The role of coaching in this can help to manage the emerging transition through change in a more supportive way.
Reviewing Argyris' point of view, we believe to bring about double loop learning and awareness, the need for change must also be viewed as opportunities to find solutions and resolve issues. These opportunities, Argyris suggests, will often be related to processes and structures which are likely to influence learning in the organisation. The idea of making time and space at work for thinking, finding another way of doing if need be, and employing strategies that we have talked about is born out of a mindset where old behaviour is to be discarded in order to allow new behaviours to be demonstrated. To be effective, however, it is critical to think and take action in a synchronous way at the organisational, operational and individual levels. Taking this idea further to help focus on achieving organisational vision, it is worth considering the view of a learning organisation. Keeping the idea of levels in mind, we draw on Senge's original idea about a learning organisation and look to a view offered by Guest. He believes to bring about the concept of a learning organisation, organisational level factors such as mental models need to be deeply ingrained, where they incorporate assumptions by which people can make sense of their world. In this context, coaching can challenge assumptions to discover whether they are the best representation of exactly what is happening at any one time. This may also link with Johnson and Scholl's cultural web theory we referred to earlier, where an organisation would need to look critically at what they have at present, benchmarking against other organisations. The idea would be to reap the benefits of a coaching culture and recognise some ideas may be good and therefore not to throw everything away.
Drawing on Guest's point of view, this process would then lead to the new values, attitudes and skills being merged with any current good practice. It also evidences an emerging ethos of managing in a coaching way. In practice, this style of management could help to bring about an environment where staff are encouraged to develop personal mastery, as well as helping them to clarify and deepen their personal vision. Guest believes bringing coaching into the concept of the learning organisation will bring about a future that fosters genuine commitment rather than merely compliance. Having weighed it all up and come to a conclusion, we conclude there are cultural change issues similar to what was actually found in other research.
Like the research reports we reviewed, we found similar issues and identified some gaps. Ideally, what we're looking for is an organisational climate in which there is synchronicity enabled through systemic thinking and staff are feeling happy, having a sense of meaningfulness in their jobs and are feeling sufficiently engaged to offer commitment and a job well done. Having considered the findings, we concluded
that coaching as a change of management mindset initiative is a good way to align individuals and organisations' values. Coaching involves dealing with feelings, beliefs, skills, attitudes, knowledge and behaviours within the vision of the organisation. A manager who manages in a coaching way has the effect of giving staff more ownership and responsibility.
The key to success of leadership in universities will be through creating a culture where engagement of staff means being or doing things together. For others to follow with enthusiasm, it may mean changing the work environment to a place where staff feel empowered.
Change comes when people can learn without fear of repercussions. Change can only be achieved when it is led from the top, and senior management mindset needs to be one of openness and transparency to enable trust.
And knowing this, we finally conclude, to manage in a coaching way, coaching takes place down, up and across the hierarchy, and adopting a coaching culture, it makes a valuable contribution to the way staff see responsibilities and how they see their roles and treat each other.
Thanks for listening. From Rose.
From Sue.